All right, guys, it's Miss Harrington here. We're going to go over this week's homework answers. So let's start under Monday. So as always, we have our word list for the week. Remember, these are the words that you're going to use in boxes like which word means, which words have a prefix that means, and words to complete the sentences. So let's just go through these words together. Abnormal, adequate, abrasion, surplus, abundance, adherent, supermarket, adjourn, adversary, surpass. So going on to the next box, it says which word means to put off until another day. So from our word list above, you should have chosen the word adjourn. With your next box, labeling the part of speech for each underlined word. You should work on your homework so you will have time to play outside. So we have quite a few words underlined in this week's sentence. We have you, on, so, time, and play. So starting with you, we're going to label this as a pronoun because it takes the place of someone's name. On is a preposition. So on your homework would be your prepositional phrase. So is a coordinating conjunction. So that tells me this is a compound sentence. I have a coordinating conjunction with my comma. Time is a noun because that is a thing. And then play is an action verb because it's something we can do. Now look at the next box where we are going to correct the sentence by adding commas. You will need to brush your teeth, get dressed, and eat breakfast before leaving the house. So for this sentence, the comma rule is that there is a list. There are items in a list. So there are 3 things that we need to do before leaving the house. So we have to brush our teeth, get dressed, eat breakfast. So when you have 3 items in the list, that means you only need 2 commas. So we're going to put 1 comma behind teeth and then 1 comma behind dressed. Remember, we never put a comma behind that coordinating conjunction. Moving on to simile or metaphor, and what does it mean? Remember, similes and metaphors are a type of figurative language that authors use to make their writing a little more interesting. We know if it's a simile, we're going to see like or as, and if it's a metaphor, it's going to tell us that something is something else, and we have to explain the meaning. So it says, Anthony is no angel. He always seems to get himself into trouble. So in the beginning of this, I see this sentence, Anthony is no angel. Well, I know it's not a simile because I don't see like or as, and I'm saying that he is not something, which makes this a metaphor because we know that he's really not an angel. But what that does mean, when it also adds that he always seems to get himself in trouble, it means that he does things that are wrong. Kind of going into that next box, but that's okay. All right, going on to the next box where you have to circle the part of speech for the word circular. So you have one of these definition boxes. Here's our word circular. Now, if you notice, there are 2 different definitions for this word. Your part of speech is always going to be right in front of the number for the definition. So for definition number 1, the word circular is used like an adjective. But for definition number 2, it is used like a noun. So we want to circle both parts of speech. Tell if the underlined verb is perfect past, present, or future. She had read the book before. So my verb phrase had read is going to be perfect past. And I know that this is perfect past because I see my clue word had. I know if it has had in front of it, it's going to be perfect past. And then the last box, this box goes into our grammar skill this week when we have talked about shifts in verb tense. So it says, look for shifts in verb tense and tell if the sentence is correct or incorrect. It said, I understood the story. It was easy. So you have 2 verbs here that are underlined. You have an action verb and you have a linking verb. Understood is past tense. Was is past tense. So this is what we would call a correct shift in verb tense. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at Tuesday. Which words have a prefix that means to, toward, or add to? So we have to find words from that Monday list with this prefix. So if you remember from previous homeworks, when we've had this question about this particular prefix, we're looking for words that have the prefix AD. So these are the words you should have listed. You should have adequate, adherent, adjourn, and adversary. So going right into the next box, it says, which word best completes the sentence? The boy is a strong blank of equal rights for all people. So you're choosing one of these words from the above box. So out of these four words, you should have chosen the word adherent. It means he supports that. All right, going on to the next box, which word or phrase best completes the sentence? So you have in addition, for example, finally. So in addition is like when you're adding an extra piece of information to something you've already said. For example, obviously, you're giving an example of something that you're talking about. And then finally is a transition word where we talk about something that happens last. So our sentences say, you must come to my house to play video games. Blank, we can also do some crafts. So out of the words and phrases above, the best phrase that we're going to use here would be in addition, because I'm talking about you coming to my house to do one thing, and then I'm adding something else that we could do while you're there. So in addition would best complete this sentence. Looking at the next box, it says, which word can mean an entryway and to bewitch? Bewitch, like to put a spell on you, okay? So you've got three word choices here, and we've got to find one word that could mean both of these definitions. So out of these words, you should circle entrance or entrance. When we pronounce it as entrance, we're talking about an entryway. But when we pronounce it as entrance, we're talking about bewitching someone or putting a spell on them. All right, for the following box, you are going to write a sentence using the words either or either or. Now remember, when you use these two correlative conjunctions, this is when you have a choice presented in the sentence. So I'll just give you an example. You might say something like this. You can either have pizza or tacos for dinner. So in this sentence, I'm presented with a choice. I can have pizza or I could have tacos, but I can't have both. So I have either or. All right, going into the next box, which definition of circular is being used in the sentence? So you're going to have to look back at that Monday box where it gave us those two different definitions for the word circular. So in this sentence, it says, there was a circular pattern on the dinner plates. In this sentence, circular is describing the pattern, which means it is an adjective. So when I look back at the definition box, I see that definition number 1 is an adjective. Going on to the next box, we're going back to perfect tense. It says complete the sentence with the correct perfect past tense verb. So it says Mario blank pizza 3 days ago. Well, it says perfect past, so I know I have to put had, and then my verb is cook, but I know I need to make it past tense, so I'm going to say had cooked and add ed there. And then the last box, we're going back to shifts in verb tense. Again, this is our grammar skill for the week. It says, tell if the sentence is correct or incorrect. Although I wanted to play, I sit at the table instead. So we have two verbs here, wanted and sit. Wanted is past tense, but sit is present tense. So because we have two different verb tenses here, this is going to be incorrect. And really, guys, if you read that out loud to yourself, you would have heard that it just doesn't sound right. So to fix this, we might say, although I wanted to play, I sat at the table instead. Or we could say, although I want to play, I sit at the table instead. That way, both of our verbs are the same tense. All right, moving on to Wednesday. So for the Wednesday box, at the top, it says which words have a prefix that means on top of, over, or above. We have had this particular prefix on previous homeworks as well. So you're looking for words that have the prefix sur, S-U-R, or super. So out of the words from the Monday list, you should have the following words. You should have surplus, supermarket, and surpass. Going straight into the next box, it says which word means to exceed or go above and beyond. So you've got to use words from the above box. So out of these three choices, you should choose the word surpass. When you surpass expectations, you are going above and beyond. All right, here in the next box, you have to improve the sentence by expanding, combining, or reducing. So our sentence says, the sour candy made her pucker her lips once she bit the sour candy. Well, I hear some information that's been repeated, which tells me this is a sentence that I'm going to reduce. So I might reduce it by saying, let's see, where would I start? Here we go. I'm going to take out the sour candy made her, and I'm going to say she puckered, so I'm going to add ed there, her lips once she bit the sour candy. Because I don't really need to say twice that I'm talking about sour candy. I've already said it. I don't need to say it twice. All right, going into the next box, you have to rewrite the title using correct formatting. So you have the BFG, which is a book. So this is the title of the entire book. So because this is the title of the entire book, this is a larger piece of work. So with titles that are larger pieces of work, we are going to underline it. In the next box, what does the adage or proverb mean? Now remember, adages and proverbs are like idioms because we don't necessarily mean what we say. They're not literal, but adages or proverbs are meant to give you some sort of advice or maybe a mini life lesson. So it says, when in Rome, do as the Romans. So when you hear people say that, this means act the way others around you are acting. Specifically, maybe when you go on vacation and you travel somewhere new, try some of the things that people are doing in that location. Do as the Romans do. Oh, running out of space here. There we go. All right, going on to the next box. You have to circle the pronunciation of the word accurate. So when we use that word pronunciation, this just tells us how to pronounce or say the word correctly. So we have a definition box here for the word accurate. When you're looking for pronunciation, it's always going to be behind the word and it'll be in parentheses and it always has kind of a weird spelling. So we're going to circle in parentheses what's right behind the word accurate. All right, going back over perfect tense, it says tell if the underlined verb is perfect past, present, or future. We have told her what to do. So have told is your verb phrase. I see this word have, so that's going to tell me that this is perfect present. Because remember, with perfect present, you can use have or has in front of your action verb. Now, in this last one, looking for shifts in verb tense, it says to tell if the sentence is correct or incorrect. We will perform all the dances we learned last year. Now, when you look at this, you might want to say, oh, well, it's incorrect because will perform is future tense and learned is past tense. However, when you say it out loud, number one, it sounds correct because it is correct. And really, when you look at what the sentence is talking about, we've learned all these dances and we will perform them. Maybe there's a show in the upcoming months. and we're going to perform all the dances we've already learned. So in this case, this sentence is correct, even though there is a shift in verb tense. All right, guys, and then finally we are on to Thursday. So looking at that first box for Thursday, which words have a prefix that means away from? This is also one we've had on previous homeworks. So out of the Monday list, you are looking for words with the prefix AB, ab. So you should have the words abnormal, abrasion, and abundance. So going right into the next box, it says which word best completes the sentence. So we're going to use one of the words above. Her blank behavior made me suspicious. So out of the words above, the best word to complete this sentence, because we're a little suspicious, we're not really sure what's going on because something's different about her behavior, we're going to use the word abnormal. Where does the comma go? For example, I once ate an entire pizza all by myself. We're going to place a comma behind the phrase for example because that is an introductory element. It's not necessary for the sentence because I could take that out and still have a complete sentence. So we're going to put one right behind for example. In the next box, it asks us to replace the underlined word with one of the words above. So when we do this, we want to replace it with a synonym because we don't want the meaning of the sentence to change. So in the sentence, it says, their absurd behavior got them into trouble. So out of the three words above, we're going to replace absurd with ridiculous because they have similar meaning. They're synonyms. Fine and good would be like antonyms for the word absurd. In the next box, we are working with the correlative conjunctions neither nor. And when we use neither nor, it's very similar to using the word not. So you have to come up with a sentence using these correlative conjunctions. So you could have a sentence like this. Neither Billy nor Sally can come to the party. Because what I'm saying here is Billy cannot come, Sally cannot come. So instead of two separate sentences, I put them together using the correlative conjunctions neither nor. All right, next box, which definition of accurate is being used in the sentence? So you've got to look back at the definition box for accurate. We see a 1 and a 2, which tells us it has two different meanings. So definition number 1 is correct in all details. Definition number 2, successful in reaching the target, maybe like if you're shooting a bow and arrow. So in this sentence, it says her accurate aim will help her win the archery competition. So aim is a huge clue here, and then archery competition is a clue as well. So I'm talking about reaching a target, which means definition number 2 is being used in this sentence. In the next box, we're still working with perfect tense. It says to complete the sentence with the correct perfect present tense verb. So we have she blank 100 bracelets. So we know when it's perfect present, we could use has or have, but my subject she is singular, so we're going to use has. And I know I need to make my action verb past tense. So now my sentence will say, she has made 100 bracelets. And then in the final box, we're going back to shifts in verb tense. The children were playing and the teachers are watching. Well, number 1, that just doesn't sound right when we say it out loud. But look at your verb phrases that are underlined. You have were playing, which is past tense, are playing, which is present tense. So this would be an incorrect shift in verb tense. Now, we could correct that by saying the children are playing and the teachers are watching, or we could correct it by saying the children were playing and the teachers were watching. All right, guys, well, that does it for this week's homework, and we will see you next week.